A big problem I see in a lot of churches is pastors will fill their calendar with things that they do not need. And this is where I love AI.
Thanks for coming. A quick 30 seconds on who you are and what you do.
Yeah. So my name's Brady Sticker, Church Candy. We're a marketing agency that helps churches turn online views to butts and pews. That's what we do. And there's a lot of companies out there that do amazing work that are marketing agencies that help churches with websites or posting on their social media or graphic design. And all that's great, but we don't do any of that. Not that I don't believe in it, but it's just we want to get new people into the local church. And just because you have a beautiful website, that's not going to necessarily result in someone showing up to your church on Sunday. And so, like, our mission as a company, like, we want to connect 1 million people to a local church. And so everything we do is kind of like ran through that lens. And so if it's not going to directly lead to someone new showing up on Sunday, then we're not going to like offer that as a service.
Cool. Well, how with Church Candy? I know I've heard a few stories when we've talked before. How did Church Candy start? How did it get its start, and where did the idea come from?
Yeah, so I was a youth pastor at a church here in Texas, and for my day job, like I had ran some like Facebook and Instagram ads for work, and so my pastor one day gave me the church credit card and was like, "Hey, you got $500. Let's see if we can like get a lot of people in here because our church we were trying to do this event." And so I'm like spending hours like doing all of the graphics and all of this for the ads, and we spend the $500. We're getting so many likes and so much engagement on the ads. The event comes and no one showed up. And dude, I was heartbroken. Like I was devastated. I was embarrassed that like I had wasted $500 of the church's money. And that was back in 2019. No, but that was back in 2019. It My pastor believed in me. It was like, "Hey, it's all good. Here's another $500." That was honestly pretty stupid of him to let me try that again. But we eventually got it dialed in to where we would have new guests coming. And then my pastor connected me with some of his friends that were church planters and other pastors in other cities, saying, "Hey, you need to check out what my youth pastor's doing for our church. I bet he could help you guys with your Facebook ads." And that's how Church Candy started, man.
So not stupid, right? Not stupid, because it ultimately led to a really good outcome for the church, I guess, right?
For sure. For sure. Some could argue, though, that it wasn't good stewardship to let I think it was like 19 or 20-year-old, give him the church credit card and say, "Oh, we'll just try again with another $500. As Corey Asbury would say, it was a little reckless, but it worked out.
I would say advertising anywhere, especially social media. Social media has built-in advantages for being able to test a lot. I don't know that I've heard many stories where the first time you try something, it works in advertising. You have to iterate multiple times, learn what kind of worked, learn what didn't work. I know in sermon shots when we started doing advertising, one of our meta ads is one of the best places for us, but we were not good at it at first. I think it's just retrying what you're learning. I don't know. Is that typical for churches that you work with too?
I talk to pastors every single day that say something along the lines of, "Oh yeah, we tried Facebook ads and it didn't work." And what they mean by that is when you go and post something on Instagram or Facebook, there's this little button that says boost post, and they click the boost post button, and that is not running ads. And so like for us, what it was, like, if we're going to get down to the nitty gritty, is we were hosting an event we were trying to get people to. And I basically, when you create an event on Facebook, it gives the option to boost the event. And that's what we were doing. And so on someone's feed, it showed up as like, "Oh, you can say you're interested." And so we were getting so many people saying they were interested in coming to this event our church was doing, but we didn't have anyone show up from the ads. We had some, like, luckily some word of mouth and other things we were doing that got people to show up there. So it wasn't a total like blow, but regardless, we pivoted to more of a direct response. Like in the business world, you would call it lead gen, to where you're getting people to plan a visit to a church. And that's worked really well. I mean, that worked great back in the 2019, 2020, um, even throughout COVID.
Yeah.
And now it's still, we've iterated some of the like creatives, like the images and videos that perform the best, but the overall like framework of the plan your visit ads have still continued to produce.
Awesome. One of the things that you said there that it reminded me, I'm guessing here, you know who Alex Ramosi is. You've
Yeah.
at least seen him. But one of the stories that he talks about a lot is how he learned, how did it go? His failure of advertising on like putting signs on people's cars. Have you seen this? Where he said
Yeah.
he was told to go do this thing and he did it, and then he came back and he talked to the person who told him to do this, and he found out like he did it at this such small scale that wasn't even worth anything, right? That's kind of what this reminds me of, is somebody hit boost a post and said, "Oh, I tried it. That was it."
Yeah.
But in reality, it takes way more than that to find something that works. And then once you find the thing that works, you can scale it up.
Yeah, and that's applicable to anything. I think a big problem that a lot of churches have is they have the mindset of, well, we do things this way because it's the way we've always done it, right? And so then when they do try something, the second it doesn't work, they immediately go back into that comfort mode, right? And they go back to how things have been. Right. And so I'm sure you guys have even seen that with sermon shots, because what you guys do is you take the content that a pastor is preaching, and the coolest thing about it is you can chop it up into these really, really cool reels. And I bet there's a lot of churches out there that they might have posted 1 or 2 preaching clips and it got 18 views, 47 views. And they're like, this isn't worth the effort. But they just didn't do enough volume to see the fruit from it, because it's something that takes consistency.
Yep. Got to be posted more to see consistent results or some results. So yeah. Well, one of the things that that I saw from you recently that just stuck out. I get your emails, and so I see them. But the one that really stuck to me recently was this new thing. I don't know why. It just like clicked with me that it made a lot of sense. Was this coffee with a pastor ad that you're doing, that you're trying to get more churches to do? How's that going? What made you think of it? How's it working for churches? Explain a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing is, man, so oftentimes churches are, oh, come to our church, come to our Sunday service, come to this event we're doing. It's just like, oh, come see us, come see us. But do you know how many people are in your city that are driving by your church every single day that want to grow in their relationship with their Lord, that want to be a part of like a life-giving community, but they are so ashamed of their past and they feel like they're not worthy and they don't have a grasp and understanding of God's grace. And because of that, they would never step foot into a church. And one way that we're helping churches overcome that is, instead of like using social media to just invite people into our church, we're using these Facebook and Instagram ads and saying, hey, my name is Brady. I'm a local pastor here in the area. Do you have questions about God or faith? I would love to sit down and grab coffee with you. Tap below to schedule a time to sit down and chat. And you would be blown away by how many people would love to just go grab coffee with someone as a pastor. And these people aren't necessarily the type of people that would walk foot into a church, because maybe they're not as like familiar with like the local church concept, right? Or maybe they're just so ashamed of their pastor. Maybe they're kind of like, they have questions and they are maybe more agnostic than they would be. And so they don't know if God exists. And so there's so many people out there that wouldn't step foot in a church, but they would go grab coffee with a pastor. And so, man, we're seeing so much fruit from that. God's doing so much from it. And so many pastors are having them and their teams calendar filled with these really fruitful conversations. And a lot of those people are then showing up and bringing their families to church on Sunday. And so at the end, it does still build the local church. It does still bring people into the front doors, but it's more of like an evangelistic approach.
Yeah, it's easier to have a one-on-one conversation with somebody than walk into a door with hundreds of people, probably, right?
100%.
Or people have a kind of a mindset of what church is based on their beliefs that they have, or they've been to a bad one, and walking into a new church maybe is a huge step, but talking to a pastor makes a lot of sense. Are churches, how are some of the successful churches implementing this then, in terms of like not only the get it in front of people so that they see it, but then like who is the person that's going on these? Is it the pastor always? Is it other people in the church as well, or on staff?
Yeah. A big problem I see in a lot of churches is pastors will fill their calendar with things that they do not need to be spending time doing. right? And this is where I love AI. AI can come in and help free up a pastor's calendar to where all that those administrative tasks and scheduling and editing videos, like now you use sermon shots to do a lot of that, and that has limited their ability to actually go and meet with people one-on-one and connect with people one-on-one, which, like, there's so much evidence in scripture to where that's really the job of a pastor, right? It's to edify the saints and build up the saints for the work of the ministry. Well, you can't do that if you're spending, so many hours editing videos for your Instagram, or you're going and spending so much time scheduling.
Is it the pastor or somebody else?
Yeah. And so with all of the things on our pastors' calendars, a lot of the times when I tell people like, oh, you should run ads and invite people to grab coffee with you as a pastor, they're like, I don't have time for that. I got all these other things going on. Well, this should be the biggest priority, is meeting with people in your city that are interested in coming to your church. Like, that's huge. And so what I tell people is, look, find people on your pastoral team and have everyone set aside a few hours a week for this. And then with the scheduling calendars these days, you can set up what's called a round robin calendar, to where it basically rotates based on everyone's availability. And that way, the lead pastor isn't the bottleneck, and it's going to free up too. Like, if it's only dependent on the lead pastor, there's only so much time in a day, in a week, that you can meet with people. But if you train up a pastoral team to have these one-on-one meetings, then you're able to reach so many more people.
A lot of sense. That's cool. Yeah, like I said before, when I saw that, I thought it was really cool. So it's cool to see that that's working at the church. So, kind of shifting gears here, there's a whole sort of like business side to what you're doing too, right? Like, obviously you're helping the church, but there's the business side to this of running a successful business. I'm curious, from in a business that helps churches, what is some of the biggest challenges that you've had in the, I think I heard 6 years, 7 years, 8 years?
Yeah. So, I mean, we officially like started churchcandy.com and like formalized it in 2022, but it was kind of like a side hustle in 2021. And so what was the main question?
What's one of the biggest challenges that you've had running, starting, maintaining your business?
Yeah. Man, the biggest problem is there's just always a constraint. It's, okay, how do I hire people? How do I hire people that love the local church and that care about my business as much as I do? Which, like, as a business owner, like, this, Corey, like, you're never going to find someone that loves and cares about your business as much as you do. But what's awesome about what Church Candy is like, we are very mission focused. Like, we're on a mission to connect 1 million people with a local church. And so sometimes I feel like a pastor, like motivating my team and casting vision. But what's awesome is like a lot of pastors do that really well to a team of volunteers that aren't paid. So it makes it really easy for me, because my team, they've got like salaries, healthcare benefits, and all of these really cool things. And so when I cast a vision, it's really easy for them to hold on to. And we're like so vision focused and so mission. We're adding some new things this year that are going to cost us money in the long run, but we know it's going to help our clients. Like, so we're going to basically be sacrificing profits for the impact and the results that our clients are getting. And I'm just super excited about it because, man, God's just doing some really cool things. And so some of the biggest constraints that we've had, it's people. It's just hiring the right people and getting systems. Like, I thought my business was at a good place when my daughter was born back in January of 2024. I took like a month off of work just to spend time with my wife, help out with the baby. And I would brag to my business owner friends like, bro, the team's got it. I'm able, like, I'm not checking my email. Everything's good. Well, we're at a baby appointment and I get a text from my number 2 saying, hey, one of the employees just quit. And I'm like, ooh, that's not good. And within a 3-month period, we had like 3 employees quit. And so the first time I'm like, oh, they just couldn't handle it. The second time I'm like, man, they couldn't handle it either. The third time I'm like, okay, maybe we're the problem. We're the cop. Maybe our business isn't structured in a way to where it stresses people out and they're leaving. So we've had to, I've actually got a copy of it. This book right here has helped us tremendously. Do you know Traction by Gino Wickman? Oh yeah. Some EOS bros. Yeah, there we go. Dude, this book has been so helpful for me. Like, I think every business owner, every like pastor should read this, because there's so many things here that are just so applicable to businesses and churches, just organizations as a whole. And so like there's been things that we've had to restructure, but now we're at a place to where we're able to scale. Just a few months ago we brought on 100 new clients in 1 month, which for a service-based agency is huge and like unheard of compared to like a SaaS software company like Sermon Shots. Like there's not really like people constraints
Yeah,
to
yep.
handle 100 new clients coming on. It's all digital. It's all through a software. You might have customer service, an influx of customer service tickets and things like that, but that's not necessarily like an immediate we need to fix right now. But the thing is, for us, we were able to bring on those 100 clients, and I didn't necessarily have to hire anyone right then. Now, granted, we got on those 100 clients, then we were capped and everyone was at full capacity. So I had to hire people in order for us to continue to grow. But it wasn't like, okay, I can't service these 100 churches. And it's crazy, dude. So I told my team, I was like, hey, if we get 100 clients to sign up this month, I will let you guys tattoo whatever you want on my body. And they did it. They got 108 churches to sign up. This was March of this year. And yeah, so actually this Friday, I'm getting a tattoo. I don't know what it's going to be. I'm going to be blindfolded while
Really?
I get the tattoo.
Ask
Yeah,
where?
it's gonna be at our staff retreat. So we're gonna have the whole team. We all work remote, so we're gonna have the whole team in town there for it.
Where are you getting it? Like, hopefully in a
I
place
think it's
that's
gonna be on
mostly
my
hidden.
leg, like
Okay.
so it's not gonna be like on my face or anything crazy.
Yeah. Okay. They didn't get to choose the location. They got to choose what. Yeah.
Yeah,
You have to share. You have to share after it's done. Share it to me, and maybe we can add that
of
into
course. I'll
the
make sure to
clip.
get that
But
to you.
I will. I will say. I would second this book. It's one of 5 or 6 books that I could reach in the same way you just did. And the reason is because it's the only book I've ever taken notes on, and I've got them to look back at, and it's also the only book, I believe, well, except for the Bible, that I've read more than once. So yeah,
No, that's the thing. Traction's great. Gino Wickman has another book called Rocket Fuel, which would be great for like a lead pastor and executive pastor to read together, because it is all about that relationship between the lead pastor and executive pastor. Their verbiage would be visionary and integrator. And so for like business owners, it would be for like a CEO or COO to read. And so that's something that I've read with my number 2 here at Church Candy. And I think for a church, yeah, I think it would be a great read too.
it's funny because I actually just had a conversation with somebody 3 days ago about this book for the church, and I ran by this idea with him. And I think you're saying exactly what I'm saying. The church does not run necessarily as a business, although it's arguable that some of it maybe should be, right? But I had this. I asked him. It's the visionary and the implementer. We were in a conversation about how churches sometimes hit this plateau or get to this point where they actually decline. And I threw out this traction book idea, the visionary implementer, integrator, that's the right word, to him, and I explained it in terms of a church. Would the church, it gets to a certain point, the lead pastor is the visionary in this book, is the integrator missing sometimes? Is that the plateau of the church sometimes because the pastor or the lead pastor can no longer kind of handle the same things, just like a business CEO can no longer do everything when you get to a certain size. So I'm curious your take, if you can expand on that.
Yeah, so a lot of people say the church isn't a business. You shouldn't run the church like a business. And I would say to that, you are right in a sense that churches shouldn't be about profit, right? It shouldn't be, how can we increase our numbers for giving and get our attendance up so we can get new people in here? Like I had a pastor tell me once, like, okay, so with Church Candy, how many new giving units can we expect? Like, I was like, do you mean like families? Like how many new families? And so anyways, but the church should be run as a business whenever it comes to like organizational efficiency, just like you have to hire staff. I'm not going to hire staff. It's a church. It's not a business. It's like, no, like you hire staff to operate the operations of the church, the facilities, right? And so I think in that aspect, yes, it should be run like a business. And there are things that churches can take from the business world and implement. And Traction and EOS and having a visionary and implementer an integrator. And man, Corey, you got me saying it.
Rubbing off on you.
I think that is super applicable that any church can use, because it's not saying, like our mission and vision has changed as a church. It's like, no, we're just going to be more organizationally efficient. So I think that's my whole thoughts on like the church ran like a business and that kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. And shout out to Michael from Church Media Squad. He was the one that introduced me to the book.
Really?
And we've stayed communicating about the book over the last year or two. So yeah.
Do you guys have like an implementer that's helped you guys implement EOS throughout your business, or you just like read the book and you're trying to?
So I have. How do I answer this? So I have implemented as much as I could within about a 9-month period, but I've had to adapt it slightly for different things, mostly for a remote team. Some of the things they talk about in their challenge for a remote team. So we've done that, different time zones and things like that. There's certain things that I think a software company are a little bit different that we've had to change. Short answer is I implemented a lot. And then to get back to your other question, do not have what would be called an integrator. I still, to this day, act as both the visionary and integrator. I have it mapped out in that way for a future potential role, but at the moment, I do that as well.
Corey, what is your church hot take?
I knew this ahead of time, and it's funny because a lot of your answers or some of your answers actually are very related to this hot take. So it's very interesting. I think that pastors should talk more about being good stewards of time. So we talk, and rightfully so, we talk a lot about being good stewards of your money. Makes total sense. But I think sometimes the opposite end of that, or the in parallel, should be talked about being good stewards of your time. And those two things together might help make decisions a little bit better. I see a lot of people, not necessarily in the church space, but I see a lot of people who will think about being good stewards of your money, save $50, $100, $10. I'm being good stewards, but at the expense sometimes of having to spend a lot of your own time doing something that $50, $100, $10 would have actually saved you. I've heard my pastor speak on stewardship of time before, and it clicked with me at one point. So yeah, I think that's a thing that we should be talking a little bit more about.
Comment down below, should pastors be spending more time talking about stewardship of time? Boom, bro. Appreciate it. This was fun. If I had more time, I would love to talk about like EOS and some things, but I do need to bounce.
Yep.
And I'll see you later, man.